The silence is deafening. In a nondescript building in Washington, D.C., a cryptologist's hands tremble as he stares at the decoded German message before him. The date, February 23rd, 1942. The revelation contained in those translated lines will change everything Americans thought they knew about the war. "My God," whispers Lieutenant Colonel Frank Roulette, his voice barely audible in the cramped Signal Intelligence Service office. "They're not just planning to attack our shipping lanes, they're already here." This is the moment American intelligence cracked their first major Enigma intercepts. What they discovered would send shockwaves through the highest levels of government and forever alter America's understanding of German capabilities in the Atlantic. But to understand the magnitude of this breakthrough, we must first grasp the impossible task these codebreakers had been attempting for months. The Enigma machine, Germany's supposedly unbreakable cipher device, 3 rotors spinning in mathematical precision, creating over 150 trillion possible combinations for each message. German High Command believed it was impenetrable. They were wrong. February 1942, German U-boats are decimating Allied shipping off the American coast. Ships burning on the horizon, fuel oil washing ashore from North Carolina to Maine. Operation Drumbeat is in full swing, and Admiral Karl Dönitz's submarines are operating with terrifying efficiency. American naval intelligence knows the Germans are coordinating something massive, but they're fighting blind. Every encrypted radio transmission they intercept might as well be written in an alien language. Then comes the breakthrough. Working around the clock in shifts that blur into each other, American cryptologists finally crack the German naval Enigma code. The first clear intercepts arrive on that cold February morning, and what they reveal stops everyone in the room dead in their tracks. The decoded messages aren't just tactical communications between submarines, they're detailed operational reports, position coordinates, attack plans, casualty assessments. The Germans are treating the American coastline like a shooting gallery, and they're keeping meticulous records of every kill. Steamer torpedoed and sunk at coordinates 36 to 14 north, 75 to 35s west. Estimated tonnage 8,000, no survivors observed. Tanker attacked dawn February 19th. Secondary explosions confirm petroleum cargo. Vessel broke apart and sank within 12 minutes. Message after message. Each one a death sentence carried out with clinical precision. But it's not just the tactical information that shocks the American intelligence officers. It's the tone, the casual efficiency, the complete confidence in German naval supremacy along the American coast. Commander Joseph Wenger, head of the Navy's Communication Security Section, reads through the intercepts with growing alarm. The Germans aren't just attacking shipping, they're systematically destroying America's maritime infrastructure, and they're documenting every success with the precision of an industrial operation. They're treating this like a business transaction, Wenger tells his superior officers that afternoon. Every sunk ship is a line item in their operational reports. They're not even viewing our vessels as military targets anymore. We're just inventory to be liquidated. The intercepts reveal something even more disturbing. German submarine commanders are receiving detailed intelligence about American ship movements before those vessels even leave port. Someone is feeding information to the enemy with deadly accuracy. As February turns to March, the decoded messages paint an increasingly grim picture. U-boat commander reports describe American coastal defences as practically non-existent. They're operating on the surface at night, sometimes within sight of beachgoers, completely unafraid of retaliation. Conducted surface attack off Long Island. No defensive response encountered. American patrol craft arrived 4 hours after engagement. Withdrew to deep water without interference. Captain John Harper, analysing the intercepts for the Office of Naval Intelligence, realizes the full scope of what they're facing. The Germans aren't just winning, he tells his team during a grim briefing session. They're operating with complete impunity. These intercepts show they consider our waters their hunting ground. But the intelligence windfall also provides something invaluable: insight into German operational patterns. The enemy's confidence becomes their weakness. Because they believe their communications are secure, they're transmitting detailed operational plans days in advance. The Americans learn that U-boat commanders are required to report not just successful attacks, but failed opportunities, weather conditions affecting operations, and precise fuel and ammunition status. It's a bureaucratic goldmine for Allied intelligence. U-94 reports torpedo malfunction during attack on tanker convoy, weather conditions deteriorating, fuel sufficient for 72 additional hours on station, requesting permission to withdraw to grid square CA-15. Every decoded message reveals another piece of the German operational puzzle. Attack patterns emerge, supply schedules become apparent. The locations of submarine refueling operations are exposed. By March 15, 1942, American intelligence has assembled a comprehensive picture of German submarine operations along the East Coast. The information is both devastating and empowering. Devastating because it confirms the scope of German successes. Empowering because it provides the blueprint for fighting back. Admiral Ernest King, Chief of Naval Operations, reviews the intelligence summary with his senior staff. The room is thick with cigarette smoke and tension. The decoded intercepts have revealed not just German tactics, but their absolute contempt for American naval capabilities. They're calling our coastal defences the American turkey shoot, King reads from one translated intercept. His voice is steel. Well, gentlemen, I think it's time we change the menu. The intelligence revelations trigger immediate strategic changes. Convoy routes are altered based on decoded German patrol schedules. Ships begin travelling in patterns specifically designed to avoid areas where U-boats are known to be operating. More importantly, the Americans begin using the Germans' own operational precision against them. Because enemy commanders report their positions and intentions so methodically, Allied forces can predict where attacks will occur and when. But perhaps most shocking of all is what the decoded messages reveal about German intelligence gathering on American soil. The intercepts contain information that could only come from sources within American ports, shipping companies, and possibly military installations. Cargo vessel Liberty Star departed Norfolk 1800 hours March 3rd. Manifest confirms steel shipment destination Liverpool. Estimated speed 12 knots. Suggested intercept coordinates follow. The implications are staggering. The Germans aren't just operating submarines off the American coast. They've established an intelligence network that's feeding them real-time information about Allied shipping movements. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover receives copies of these intercepts and immediately launches a massive counterintelligence investigation. The decoded messages provide a roadmap to German spy activities that have been operating undetected for months. As spring 1942 progresses, the balance begins to shift. Armed with precise intelligence about German operations, American forces start achieving their first significant victories against the U-boat menace. Enemy submarines, accustomed to operating with complete impunity, suddenly find themselves facing prepared defences. The psychological impact on German commanders becomes apparent in later intercepts. Confidence turns to caution. Detailed attack plans become hesitant reconnaissance reports. The hunters are becoming the hunted. Patrol area increasingly dangerous. American defensive measures suggest possible compromise of operational security. Recommend immediate review of communication protocols. By summer 1942, the intelligence advantage has fundamentally altered the Battle of the Atlantic off the American coast. The same Enigma intercepts that once revealed the extent of German dominance now document their growing frustration and mounting losses. The voices in that Washington intelligence office had witnessed more than a code-breaking triumph. They'd glimpsed the moment when America's technological capability began turning the tide of a war that had seemed hopeless just months before. What American intelligence said after cracking those first Enigma chains wasn't recorded in official transcripts, but their actions spoke louder than words. They'd seen the enemy's playbook, and they were ready to rewrite the rules of engagement. The silence that had been so deafening in February became the sound of American submarines preparing their own hunting season in German waters. The students had become the masters, and the Atlantic would never be the same. The reverberations of those first decoded intercepts would echo through the corridors of American intelligence for decades to come. In the months following the initial Enigma breakthrough, the intelligence windfall transformed from tactical advantage to strategic revolution. The German Navy's meticulous record-keeping, once their operational strength, became their fatal weakness. Every transmission intercepted revealed not just immediate plans, but the entire architecture of enemy naval strategy. By December 1942, American cryptologists were reading German submarine communications faster than some German naval commanders received them through official channels. The hunters had not just become the hunted, they were being tracked by their own voices. The human cost of those early failures, documented in clinical German efficiency, would forever change how American intelligence approached maritime warfare. Every decoded casualty report became a name remembered, a lesson learned, a debt to be repaid. When the final tally was calculated years later, those first intercepted Enigma chains had saved thousands of Allied lives and shortened the Battle of the Atlantic by an estimated 18 months. The silence that once signified American helplessness had become the most powerful weapon in the Allied arsenal. What American intelligence said after cracking those first Enigma transmissions was simple. Now we can hear them coming. They had turned the ocean itself into an intelligence-gathering platform, transforming every German radio transmission into an intercepted confession. The technological war had become a battle of voices in the dark, and America had finally learned to listen.